Stand clear. Push to shock. Push to shock.
Bethany, call 911. Sarah, get the AED.
Connect electrode.
When somebody has an arrhythmia or sudden cardiac death, number one, recognition is critical, so we can get resource and access to emergency medical response as quickly as possible and get an AED to the scene as quickly as possible. But most importantly is by somebody pushing somebody's chest and doing compressions, you essentially double the chances of somebody being able to survive sudden cardiac arrest. So in EMS system, we're always being in the forefront and leading in finding new innovative ways to provide care for our community. We decided this past year to sort of refocus and re-engage in the basics because that's the foundation of everything we do and how we care for people.
15. Hit charge? You don't need to lose.
10.
And then that's going to be
The process, how we coordinate, how we actually integrate as a team, and how we care for our patients. And we were able to essentially sort of refocus our training in cardiac arrest management with a particular attention to the choreograph, the team-based approach, sort of that pit crew model which tries to incorporate all those key interventions in a cohesive way to minimize interruptions and minimize those interventions that would not be helpful for the patient.
Yep, sir, it's right here.
We went back and formalized our pit crew approach. Now what we've seen is that as we've talked about cardiac arrest and we've refocused on the basics and we've made sure that we gave feedback back to crews of how was their compression rate, how was their CPR fraction, and then we talked more about a formalized approach and we've trained on that we've seen our survival increase with those different pieces. So there's a couple of different tools that we can use to measure some of those.
No defibrillation's correct this time?
Correct.
O2 tank good?
Yes. 1500.
Entitled good?
Yes.
Rescue pod good?
Yes. The person that's sort of helping regulate the rate of the compressions, and we'll use a metronome to make sure that we're doing compressions at the right rate. We have a light that just blinks on the bag valve mask so that the person controlling the ventilations can make sure that they're ventilating at the right rate. So even on the call, we start with some of these measurement tools in the very beginning. After the call, we're able to go back and evaluate from the entire code standpoint, from the EMS monitor, the download file, and see what was the rate at which we did the compressions over the period of time, and what was the percentage of time that we should have been doing CPR that we did. And then later we evaluate how does survivability play into that. When we look at how many people survived a discharge and their neurologically intact status. So we sort of measure this from the on the scene to right after the call to the long-term survivability piece.
Most of the times I've done it is to help advocate, to let students be trained and taught how to do CPR. And the value of it is having more people to be able to do it, more people to help. Being in the recovery of it, I'm so fortunate to be able to come back essentially whole completely. It took a little while to get back to where I was, but essentially I don't have any major deficits. Don't ask my wife and family, but I don't have any major deficits from the experience. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that to be able to help out. I've received a tremendous benefit from it. I'm only trying to give back.
I was nervous. I was thinking about like, should I do CPR? But I was like, okay, I have to. And I thought, I didn't know, I wasn't sure if I could do it on the bed. So I was like, okay, Michael, come on. I got my brother to get him on the floor and then start doing the compressions. And for a long time I was thinking, I didn't do anything. I barely did anything. But people, like, I guess my story spread, and people that I knew, close friends, they're like, no, you did something, you helped. And especially that award that I got award for, I was like, really, I got an award? I think definitely do it, because I think people have the idea that I'm not gonna see somebody, I'm just gonna see that on the news or movies, but it comes around more than you think. I think people have a mentality, they're scared or they just don't think it's gonna happen, but I would say definitely do it. And it's not as hard as you think. It's just getting over the shock and being scared. I love my dad. That's it.
Amanda! Call 911. Sir, are you alright?
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Hi, I'm in Cameron Village Library, and there's a gentleman that's collapsed.
How old is he?
I'm not sure, maybe mid-60s, early 70s.
Is he breathing?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it.
I'm sending the paramedics. Stay on the line.
EMS 1-4, code blue, at 1930 Clark Avenue, cross of Bellwood Drive and Woodburn Road, at library on channel TAC 13.
All right. As I'm talking to you right now, my partner's got help on the way. I just have some questions to ask you while they're en route, okay?
616 Raleigh, Comey C. Charles, show me a route to code blue at 1930 Clark Avenue.
If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We need to get the AED.
Sarah, get the AED.
Okay, put the defibrillator on the floor next to his head on the closest side to you. Undo or remove any clothing from his chest. If his chest is wet, dry it off.
616 Raleigh, hold me 1023 code blue. I'll take over.
How long have you been on so far?
Probably 2 minutes.
Start grabbing everything. Let me jump in.
Okay.
Ready? All right. Hey, been down 5 minutes prior to our arrival. No shock advised on monitor. Continue CPR and ventilations.
Yeah.
We got 1 minute to switch.
How's that bagging going?
Going good.
How's it going?
What you got going on?
Cardiac arrest, VFib arrest. We've shocked him once since we've been here. Call out whatever you think. Everybody clear? Told CPR to a pulse check. Do we have a pulse for that?
Got a pulse. Can you tell me what happened today?
I just heard my name, and I came around the corner and saw my coworker and this man laying on the floor, and she was starting